Hello everyone, this is Troll Homestead coming at you with another video. I just wanted to explain a couple of things about our vision here, and I wanted to give you a breakdown of what we are trying for a compost tea for multi-purpose in the use of our homestead. We're doing a little bit of an experimentation at this point, and I do want to show you some other setups that we have gotten started here with some aquaponic type systems that I will show you in a bit later. So without further ado, let's get started. So I want to kick it back over to me real quick, and I just wanted to explain to you all what the vision is here at Troll Homestead. So the larger picture here is to make biodiversity, to make some ecosystems here in my backyard, in this homestead, to make things the way they should be in nature. I want to tamper as least amount as possible, but I also want to provide the soil with added nutrients. I also want to provide some of my plants in my pond with some added nutrients. I have a lot of things going on here, but the big point here is, like the Lion King says, it's the circle of life. And I want to be part of the circle of life. I want to make a ecosystem that I'm a part of, and I want to be able to give, and I want to be able to then get back. And nature is very kind, very, very kind, and helps us to develop those attributes that we want as human beings, which is to be more giving, more kind, and to not take so much, but to be able to provide something back to nature and nature back to us. So that is my philosophy. That's what I want to stay true to, and I want to consume less and do more for the environment. I want to be sustainable. I want to use as many resources as I can to utilize nature and what it is that it provides, but I also don't want to take like our consuming behavior has promoted us to be. So I want to be able to give and give and give and promote health in the ecosystem, and it will give back, and it has given back already. It's a beautiful thing. So let's get started a little bit further into some other subject that I want to talk about today. So this experiment is to add more nutrients into the ecosystem. So it's going to start from my little experimental setup here with some duckweed. So we have some about 6 foot wide, all the way around in circumference, pools that I got from Tractor Supply. They're pretty heavy duty, so they're not going to really break down that much over time. A lot of plastic there, but it's something that I can use that's not so expensive. Aesthetically, it's not the best, but I'm not really going for aesthetics at this point. I'm going for versatility, saving money, and to be able to get as much surface area as I possibly can from this water source. So how I started this was to use my chicken manure in the water, get something going with the water system here, and then I added my duckweed. I got it from a couple different sources. It wasn't very expensive at all, $5 for each container, and then the other one I purchased was actually $2 per container, so I actually ended up getting some more from that. So this is my starters, and basically I moved from a pump to now I have an aerating system that has an air pump attached to it. I'll show you the crude system at this point. So I just have some drawers stacked up on each other, so I didn't buy any more materials or anything like that. This is connected to a just a extension cord that goes out to my external plug, and this actually is very, very quiet, and it only uses 2 watts of electricity, so it's very, very, very energy conscious. And I'll just cover that back up. That's just to keep bugs and other things out of there, moisture, for a temporary situation until I can build something that's a little bit more water tight. So basically, I'm going to add a mixture of nutrients to this water on top of the fertilizer that I've already given it from the chicken fertilizer, but I want this to be very rich in nutrients. So let's go into a little explanation of duckweed. So duckweed is a very special plant, very small. It's one of the smallest flowering plants on the earth. They're found in many water systems throughout the United States. It's actually a natural part of the ecosystem here in the United States, and it helps out with a lot of things in the waterways. So basically, it's absorbing nutrients. It's in kind of the stiller water, and they reproduce very rapidly by just splitting from the main plant. So it is, like I said, rapid producing, and it's made of some complex proteins, and that's what is so beautiful about this. It has a very large amount of protein in this plant source, and it's also being able to be reproduced very rapidly. So I am using it as a food source, a natural food source for my fish. And this experimentation is going to go over to my second little pond area here, where I am nurturing some pond plants, and also I have gotten some feeder fish, very cheap, about 20 cents for each one at the pet store. You can get them at any of the pet stores. So they're a goldfish in there. Lots of different types of them. They're hiding down in the bottom. They come up to the surface and eat some of that duckweed, and they eat some flowers that have dropped in here that I also have provided for them. They're doing really well. It's just a simple pump that I have going on here to circulate the water. But the idea of this is that I can also give these little feeder fish to my chickens, but they also provide a natural fertilizer, fish fertilizer, that I can also put back into the water with the duckweed. So it's all give and give and give in this situation. It's not really a take because it just keeps circulating. So as you can see, there is some duckweed already in here for them to go ahead and eat. And they are herbivores, so they do go ahead and munch down on anything that is plant-based. And if you can see, there you can see the shadowy figures of the actual fish. They started off a lot smaller than what they are now, and I've only really had them for a week. So they're growing very rapidly, and the system is working out pretty nicely. I gave them some spots to hide, obviously, and I've also put some volcanic rock, which is beautiful. I explained that in one of my other videos with the pond, that I'm planning on putting these bad boys in my big pond that I'm developing right now, and there will be more videos about that in the future. So I talked about microorganisms. Trying to develop a good ecosystem is going to start from those microorganisms. Our body actually has microorganisms in it that go ahead and break down the food for us in our guts. And so we want to have good bacteria, good microbes, and we want to have a lot of different types of nutrients for uptake in our body. and also for our animals in the same way. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the nutrient uptake. So I'm going to flip this around again, and I want to go ahead and take this moment to kind of explain a little bit about what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to talk about the different ingredients that I've put into this container here and kind of what I am actually mixing here. So I'm going to show you here the boxes, and I want to show you the measuring spoon. So this is, as you can see on there, hopefully it'll show you it's 15 milliliters on the scoop. So milliliter of each ingredient that I've chosen as fertilizer to make this compost tea. I have a 5-gallon bucket right here from Lowe's, just a normal everyday bucket. I filled it with water, and I have my dry ingredients in this just random container that I chose so that I'm not throwing this away and not polluting any more to the environment. So the first thing is I just chose an all-purpose fertilizer. So that's kind of like a supplemental thing for some of the other ingredients, just to give it some body. And then we have the citrus mix, and then we have the seabird guano, then we have the fish meal and the BioLife. So the all-purpose is a 462, the citrus mix is a 633, the seabird is a 011, and the fish meal is an 860. The BioLife is a 542. The really cool thing about the BioLife is it contains beneficial microbes, and all of these are really good for different purposes. But for me, I want to have a well-rounded mix so that my trees and my plants are going to have as many opportunities as possible to uptake different types of nutrients. So if they want it, they'll take it. If they don't want it, they'll discard it, and it will be used anyways, because I'm always circulating these nutrients. And I'm also going to use this compost tea in my compost pile, so it will break down in other ways and provide those beneficial microbes to my soil as well, that I'm going to spread all over my trees and everything. But like I said, this is an experiment, so we're going to see how it goes with these very small inputs, and I'm going to use them with the duckweed first and provide those added nutrients to the duckweed and see how they respond. So far, the aeration has helped. It disturbs their environment. Like I said before, they need a very calm system. However, to reproduce, they actually need a little bit of disturbance in the water, and this aeration provides perfect disturbance to the water so that those little duckweed can just reproduce like crazy. I want to have a thick layer of duckweed so that I can just scoop some off the top of that, feed it to my chickens, feed it to my fish, and then it just grows back within a couple of days. Boom, we have added food source for almost no cost. So that is beautiful. The pump and the system itself really only cost me about less than $30 for the whole air pump setup. It just goes down in the bottom. The pool itself, I think, was only $20, so relatively super cheap. So I'm all about saving money and making my systems as affordable as possible, so that I can end up just being more self-sustaining and not spend an arm and a leg for the things that I want to do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take this mixture here that we've made and throw it up into that 5-gallon bucket, and we'll try to mix it around with one of my shovels. I'm gonna go get one of those and just mix it around in this bucket. And I want this to try to dissolve some of this mixture into the water, try to get it as mixed up as possible. Just to talk a little bit about fish and chlorinated water, I left this bucket overnight, actually for a couple of days, so I'm sure that the chlorine is evaporated out of the water and that I can use it right away if I need to use it on the fish or whatever. So I don't really like to put added chlorine or anything like that the plants have to adapt to. I would rather that it just kind of evaporates out of there before I use it. So, real easy. We're making a little tea here. Preferably, I'm going to have that sit in there for a little while and do its thing before I throw it in the water. So, I can go into further detail about this project later when I figure out if this works, if it's well-rounded, if it's the best compost tea that anyone's ever made in the world. I don't think that's going to happen, but it will be decent enough to provide some added nutrients, and we'll see where it goes from there. So we start small, we experiment, and you know what? It's all about trying things and putting yourself out there, and going forward with a self-sustaining lifestyle, and that's what I'm looking for here. So thank you all for watching. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful day.